Hey there YouTube, Classic Reviewer here again with another one of my review videos. Today I'll be reviewing a live action 1980s Disney movie, one that I especially loved growing up, and I'm sure many of you have seen it and love it as well. But before I get into the review today, I hope you guys are having a good day, having a good week, whatever you guys are doing, and just hope everything's working out for you. So for today, I'll be reviewing Princess Bride, one of my all-time favorite live-action Disney movies. This is my Blu-ray copy of it. And just like an all-time live-action Disney classic. It is, I'm sure many of you will agree. So the long and short of The Princess Bride is basically it's a love story that that a granddad is reading to his an elderly man is reading to his grandson, should I say, and initially the grandson is very disappointed because it's established early on it's a love story, and because he's very young, he's not interested in love stories, but upon hearing that it's set in Middle Ages time, and it's swords, adventure, fighting, and all that, he does start getting into the story. And basically, it starts off with this young couple called Wesley and Buttercup, who basically fall in love with each other. He's a farmhand. She's a peasant girl. She is, and then basically they fall in love. He gets sent away. He does to work. Well, he goes away to work on a merchant ship. He does, and then some time passes, and Buttercup gets news of Wesley being killed by the Dread Pirate Roberts, who's the infamous pirate in the region, and so she's very devastated. She is, and then some years later, she's asked to by the Prince Humperdinck to basically be her bride and marry him, essentially, and because she doesn't have much in the way of opportunity, and thinking that, believing Wesley is dead, she accepts and, is set to be married, to become queen and marry Humperdinck. But, before she is able to get married, she is kidnapped by 3 bandits. She is, who then stow her away aboard their ship and basically make off with her. However, during the journey, they notice there's a ship behind theirs, because they're going along a river to another kingdom where to Humperdinck's hated enemies. Even though the 2 kingdoms are at peace at the moment, they're hoping to blame the other kingdom for taking the princess, and that war will start between the 2 nations. So essentially, Humperdinck, when he finds out, he gets really angry, he does, and he goes out to save her, but this ship isn't one of his ships. It's crewed by the Dread Pirate Roberts, who pursues them and proceeds to take down all 3 bandits as they try to escape. First is he takes out the Spaniard, but through swordplay, fencing swordplay. Second one is the giant, who he basically he tries first of all to use his strength against the giant, but that doesn't work, obviously, because the giant's too big, it's too heavy. So he outmaneuvers outthinks the giant by jumping on its back and essentially just clinging arm around his throat until like the giant blacks out. And then with the third member, the Sicilian leader, he uh he they play a game known as the Battle of the Wits, where the Dread Pirate Roberts pours two goblets of wine, and essentially puts poison in one of the goblets. So Nen has to then puts the two goblets down. Of course, he puts the poison in secretly so that Sicilian doesn't know which one is which. Basically, puts the two goblets one in front of him and one in front of the Sicilian, and the Sicilian has to guess which one has the poison in it. Unbeknownst to the Sicilian, Dread Pirate Roberts puts in both, knowing that he's built up an immunity to the poison, which is called iocane powder? Yeah, I'm pretty sure iocane powder, which is very deadly, and it's basically odorless, colorless, so can't be smelled, can't be seen, can't basically be detected normally. So, and because the Sicilian doesn't have the same advantage, he tries bluffing his way through the situation, but he eventually just turns around and does the whole "hey, look, what's that over there" trick to swap the glasses over, believing that the poison was in his cup, not his opponent's. So then they both drink out of it, and the Sicilian obviously loses, and therefore he dies. He does, and then the Dread Pirate Roberts frees Princess Humperdinck, and frees her, and then she has to go with him, and of course, finding out that he's the Dread Pirate Roberts, she becomes understandably angry because she believes, that, of course, she heard that Wesley was killed by the Dread Pirates Roberts, and because this Dread Pirate Robert is in fact Wesley. However, he stays in character. He does long enough to find out whether or not she stayed loyal to him, whether she just immediately ran off from him, immediately forgot about him, or was still in love with him. And of course, she's still very much in love with Wesley, even though she had to was proposed to by Prince Humperdinck. So basically, then she finally figures out that he is, of course, Wesley, because Wesley would always say, whenever she asked him to do something, he would always say, "as you wish." And then, so basically, whilst the story is going along, it keeps going back to the elderly man and his grandson, because it's also a story about them bonding, and the son learning about there's more to life than what's in front of you. Some things are more important than what they first appear to be. And so then Prince Humperdinck arrives, and he essentially wants the Dread Pirate Roberts, or Wesley as we now know him to be, to essentially release the princess, his wife, or his bride to be, essentially. But of course Wesley doesn't want to do that because he's back with his love, and Princess Buttercup doesn't want to go back now, knowing that her true love is still alive and is with her. So he takes her through a forest, where they have to fight off some of the local wildlife, and at the other end he ends up Wesley ends up getting captured. He does. And Buttercup essentially is forced into going back with Humperdinck in return for Humperdinck and his men not hurting Wesley, who Humperdinck promises that that he'd be fine, that he'd be sent back to his ship, but of course secretly sends him off to be tortured and killed. And essentially the rest of the movie is bringing the other two bandits, Spaniard and the Giant, back to fight with Wesley because they realize that he's an honorable man and that he is a man in need, and they rescue him. They do, from being tortured and killed. And they bring him to a local healer, they do, who's played by Billy Crystal, amazing comedian. I love Billy Crystal. And of course rescuing Princess Buttercup and the Spaniard having his revenge upon the prince's advisor, who is a six-fingered man who essentially had his father, who killed his father when he was a child, and he has been seeking revenge ever since. So, yeah, that is the Princess Bride. I would easily rate this movie a solid 10 out of 10 because it's just a timeless movie. It is. The story, the characters, whilst a bit cheesy at times, it still holds itself up quite well, even towards like modern movie standards it does, and it's just really well loved and really well made. I'm sure I'm not the only one out there who loves Princess Bride, obviously, but yeah, it's just a really good movie, and it's just amazing for all ages. It is. So that's it for this video. If you like the video, feel free to leave a thumbs up, like the video, comment any thoughts or feelings you had while you were watching The Princess Bride, what moments you liked about it, didn't like about it, how you thought it could have been better, that kind of thing. And if you especially like this video or any of my other content, feel free to subscribe to this channel. It means so much, and it's just really amazing to see such support for this channel. Yeah, so that's all I've got time for in this video. Hope you guys continue to have an amazing week, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.